I always have to be careful what I say because I know you're recording.
Right, exactly. Right. Well, be careful what I say too.
Yeah.
But welcome to this installment of Meeting of Membership Minds, and yeah, you may be wondering. I am our internet connection went down at home, and that means that we had to move school and work to a new location. We're at the in-laws now, and they have a strong internet connection. So, but I thought it was really appropriate actually to, include, there it is, include our nice Christmas tree in the background because it never really came down this year over here at the in-laws. And I thought, well, what better way to bring in a new quarter, right? The fourth quarter of the year in just a couple days. Then why don't we, start talking about end of the year stuff, last quarter stuff, Christmas and holiday, and just be merry maybe a little bit, knowing that these days are not so well. They can be merry, but not so merry. So what's going on as we enter this fourth quarter?
Well, if every
Okay, well, no.
if everybody's so quiet, and Cindy and I talked about this before, Cindy's got a question for everybody. So Cindy allowed me to throw her out there, so I'm doing it.
Excellent. Well, you're muted, Cindy. So hold on.
All right, there we go.
Thank you. There we go.
I'm looking for the collective wisdom of the group here. So we are launching a new model for membership, and we're going to be making phone calls. I'm working with Scott on that. And we're looking at targeted audience. So just to give you a little bit of background about our organization are made up of members that are in the field of histology, and they truly come to NSH for education. And once they get whatever they need, they tend to leave, and then they come back again. We sell a lot of prep courses and different programs that provide them with CEUs for recertification or professional development. So we're launching a new membership model that will include unlimited access to our on-demand webinars, which will provide them with as many CEUs as they need for recertification or professional development. The cost of a regular membership is $80. The new enhanced education membership is $139. Our people are pretty price sensitive, but we worked with another group who's done a lot of market surveying and all, and there seems to be a need for this. So the question I have is, as I'm looking at conversion rates, I wanted to know if any of you have ever launched a new model and what your conversion rate was as it related to moving members up from one member type to a higher level member type. And then I'm also looking at lapsed members, people that have been with us but have not rejoined for the last 3 years. And then non-members who have expressed an interest in NSH since April, because that's when we changed over our new database. So they're fairly recent targets. If I can expect any kind of conversion from them as well. So Scott and I had back and forth conversations yesterday, and we said we would bring it up to the group. So thank you for allowing me to present the case.
Glad that we can have a good solid question like that we can dig into. Who wants to start?
Well, I haven't done anything like that. Ours has been pretty much the same thing for like, I don't know, 40 some odd years. If I were to like change it, so right now it's whether you build 1 to 49 units and 50 units plus for builders. If I were to start, they lie as it is. It's very few of them are going to like go, oh yeah, I build 50 or more units, because then they pay like triple the price, right? So I would love to hear what happens when you do that, because this is an idea I've had where I would like to up dues, period, and then include something, a little gravy with it, like some free courses or something like that. So I wish I could help, but I know one thing, we are going to go back after everyone who's canceled in the last while because of COVID, but we're going to wait till next year to do it. see what happens. Because we're in an election too provincially right now. So
Right.
I'm waiting to see what happens on that end.
There you go.
So Cindy, I have a couple questions. So you said your member dues were $80. Are you saying that basically the core membership product that you have is going from $80 to $139, or
No.
is it a new product?
It's a new product. So
Okay,
we're still
got it.
going to offer the core membership, and that's actually what we're going to call it, core education membership, at $80. And that provides discounts for different programs. The enhanced education model will provide that unlimited access to only the on-demand webinars, and then there'll be discounts on other programs, et cetera. So really the hook is access to those on-demand webinars.
Okay, so the core members weren't able to get to those webinars, or
They are.
They,
They are, but at a price.
Okay, so they are charged a fee for
Correct.
Accessing those webinars on
Correct.
demand. Okay.
Exactly. And if you were to purchase 2 webinars, 3 webinars, let's say 2 to 3, it would pay for you to move up to the enhanced model.
Yeah, so obviously in the marketing side, I'm sure Scott's helping you with the fact that you can make a value offer or promotion there that hopefully will get them to see the light as far as the money that they're spending with your organization.
Right.
So you're looking at how you're looking to upgrade those core members to that new
Correct.
level. Okay, so you're really going after that. Okay, so
Dan, let me jump in real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that Cindy's challenged with is that one, there's no ballpark, right? Like she's looking for a ballpark. Someone that she works with is saying, hey, give me some percentages that are going to take this.
Right.
Right. So she's asking me and I'm going, I wish I could tell you. I mean, I really do. And I understand that if you are very data intensive, that's one way to look at things, right? Tell me how many are going to take this up. So that way I know how much I'm going to spend versus how much I'm going to bring in. Cindy's other little wrinkle that she has is that it is going to be okay for people to just renew at that $80. They're not going to force everybody up. So it's not, do you want to bump to 139 or do you want to leave? So there's a lot of unknown variables in there that I sort of said to Cindy, and that's why we're kind of looking for any input that anybody has. I sort of said to Cindy, pick a low, medium, and high because we don't know. Yeah. And to me, at the end of the day, and I'm not saying this as the vendor who's going to help her, I'm just saying this in general. Okay. And they're pretty good at knowing lifetime value and that people are coming in and out on a regular basis and all that stuff. But if you can get enough people back to cover my costs plus whatever buffer they want so that they can say they have a buffer, then you got to do it. It's nice to know that 8% are going to take up this offer, but I have no idea if that 8% is 8 or that 8% is 2 or that 8% is 27. We don't know because this is such a new thing to their industry, let alone to the association. So that's why we're I think where Cindy is right now is it would be nice if I could say to this person who I work with, look, I talked to 7 other people and they said, these estimates are pretty good. So we're kind of looking to pick your guys' brains a little bit about, have 10% moved up to that next level, have 1%, have, what kind of that gist is.
Well, let me tell you what my experience has been. So when I was at ASCD, I was there for like 11 years. It was an individual membership organization. Yours is individual, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So, and we had hundreds of thousands, over 100,000 members basically at the time. But we had our 3 different levels. Okay, we had basic, select, and premium. And premium, had, again, just moving up. And so the idea for us, we actually lost money at the basic level. Okay, so they pay their $39 for membership. We'd give them $50 worth of value. Okay, that basically again, the cost of the membership was more than the $39 they gave us. It was a $49 membership. So again, and as they came in on $39, as a discounted offer. So we did that with the what used to be called comprehensive. We hated that label, so we changed it to select. that was kind of the $69 to $79 range. And then the premium was like $159 was the discounted offer, and $189 was the regular renewal dues. So we always brought people in at the basic level, mostly. Okay, we did bring them in at the other levels, but mostly brought them at the basic level, and just hit them with upgrades every 6 months, basically, upgrade offers. And so those upgrade offers were basically, you're 6 months into your basic membership. I hope you're loving it. If you really do love it, then you'll really love, the selective, and what we're going to do is, if you pay the regular price, the actually discounted price of $69 now, we'll give you the remainder of this basic membership year and the full year of select membership. So it's 18 months basically for the discounted rate. So those promotions were really well, received. We got about a 10% conversion on those. Again, depending on the year, depending on the group, it all kind of was, but on average, it was about 10% of our members actually took us up on those upgrades. And the same went for going from select to the premium. And so, not much, okay, but it's still 10% to me was fantastic, because if we get them in on that and they renew year after year, then or we're able to upgrade them to the higher premium level, we've really got them, and the retention is very high because they're realizing a ton of value, and they got a great offer of 18 months at a discounted rate. So it was kind of like, really, if your organization is open to being that flexible with your dues as far as discounts and being able to do, getting them to, add months to the membership and that type of thing for promotions, I think it works really well. Okay. Again, you really have to kind of sacrifice a bunch to actually get them to where you want them to be. And once they're there, then hopefully you have enough value that they will retain that membership long term, and you'll reap the benefits of that. Again, you put a lot of investment in them up front that hopefully will pay off and get some return later. So that's my main experience. I've tried that in different organizations, even on the trade level, trade association side, and it's depends.
Right.
It all
Right.
always comes down to depends. And so hopefully that helps as far as kind of gauging that percentage.
It does. Thank you very much, Dan.
That was going to be kind of my question was, once they come in, or whether you already have them there at the $80 level, or they come in at that level, is there a plan in place to just kind of like continually upgrade them?
Yeah.
There is. We've been talking about that. We have some limitations because of the database that we use, and so we don't want it to be a manual process that is counterproductive. But we have plans to not only continue to engage them via social media, emails, etc., but also do some targeted marketing and upgrade people so that they can see the value, and then hopefully they'll renew. The only issue that I have to keep in mind is, again, they're only required to get 36 CEUs over 3 years. So if they buy the enhanced membership model level for $139, we provide them with access to over 70 CEUs in 1 year. So they could theoretically get all their CEUs in 1 year, and then they could drop back or drop out because they don't need any more CEUs. So I have to keep that in mind. It's not that there's no continuous hook until 3 years go by, and then they have to come back in. So it's a little bit of a challenge, let's say.
If they come in with the idea of, oh, I can get all my CEUs, this is great, but then is there anything else, an online community or, outside of getting your CEU that will retain them?
Absolutely, Sharon. Thank you. Yes, and that is one of my major goals next year, is to look at the engagement of our members and to really try to get them involved so that they have more of a reason than just transactional, looking at it from that perspective to get them more involved and engaged in the work of the organization. So we've I've developed a number of like micro volunteering opportunities for them just to, test the waters. I know everybody's time is busy. So trying to get them engaged and involved so that they can see the value in retaining their membership. Rather they retain it at $139 or go back to the $80 level, that's fine. I just want them to stay as a member. That's really my overarching goal. But in the short term, I need them to move up because that's, I have a budget and all. And so, yes, that's.
We found the micro volunteer opportunities to be really a good way for people to get their feet wet.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just sucked them right in after that. So that was good. And it doesn't sound like you don't have, I guess it depends on what your members, their income is, but it doesn't sound like you have a very expensive membership.
The members average, $26, $27 an hour. So I don't know what that would equate to on a year. It's not, truly wealthy. It's comfortable depending on where you live. And so they are somewhat price sensitive, to that extent as well. And so looking at it from that aspect too, that's why I want the focus to be on education and not necessarily on membership. You get all of these CEUs and you also get a year's worth of membership so the membership is almost like an afterthought. Not from my perspective, but that's how we're going to market it. So.
Well, that's the idea, is to kind of build more value once they've actually bought into the education. So they realize the value of being a member, or at least feel more belonging
right.
When they do that.
Right.
So I want to ask a question. This was developed, is this in reaction to what's going on, or is this just was part of the strategic plan?
This was part of the strategic plan. We actually did an extensive membership survey back last year, and this came out of that they really wanted to see NSH offer more opportunities for education that was affordable. And so this was a result of the feedback that we received from not only current members, but also lapsed members and non-members. So, there was enough interest expressed at that time. And I stress that because now the time is different. And that's something else I'm hoping, that we can figure out if there's barriers revolving around the fallout from COVID.
Huge kudos to you for doing that, though. They getting the survey, getting some data to back up this decision, and really expanding your dues model is just a huge thing for any organization. So fantastic, well done.
Well, thank you. We're also going to be switching over from a calendar year to an anniversary date starting October 1st, and we changed our new logo. So we got lots of stuff going on.
There you go.
It's a busy time, but yeah, since my colleague said, what are you benchmarking your conversion rates on? And I said, I have no idea. I'm just pulling it out of the air. I mean, honestly, I don't really know. This is just my gut telling me, and I'm kind of being very conservative. So I like the idea of doing the low, medium, high, and then seeing, where it falls out. So I made a note of that.
I always recommend that too. Give them three scenarios just to keep it, manageable, but also, just give them manage expectations.
Right.
Didn't you say you just launched or about to launch a new database as well?
We just launched the new database in April, and now we have this new model and our new calendar year membership and all of that. So no rest for the weary here. I'm looking forward to next year for many reasons. No new initiatives next year, so I've been told. We'll see.
I've never done what you're going through right now. I know before I started where I am now, they did a big member survey, and members wanted online education, and then they spent all this time building a lot of online education, and then it was like, oh well, we want it for free, of course. So we've toyed with the idea after all these years of just making it part of the membership, not increasing the dues or anything, but making that part free to members. So I don't know, that's just kind of always in the back of someone's head. I don't know if it'll ever actually happen or not, but.
Right. All right. Well, thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it. Great conversation. And thank you, Scott, for bringing this up.
So Cindy, you kind of got an answer, which is there really is no perfect answer. So we
No.
just got to go, estimate low, medium, high,
Right, exactly.
and hope that one of them resonates with somebody over there.
Right, exactly. I'm sure it will. Thank you all.
And yeah, and it again, anyone else feel free to give her, some suggestions here. I don't want to be the only one here. We're all together. But also, Cindy, just one other thing that I want to mention is that once this gets launched and going, and at some point in 2021, you're going to want to come up with that downgrade process, for those that may that upgrade to that higher level, and then they don't renew, or they go at risk, or maybe even drop that membership. You want to be able to respond back and say, well, let's go back to 80. Because we want to keep you even at if it's a money thing.
Right, exactly. And I know that I've been reading a lot, about some of the changes taking place in terms of payment processes and all. So we don't our dues at $80. It's not worth it for us to do a monthly payment or anything. It's all or nothing. We don't do right now auto renewals. That's something I'm going to be looking at. And we don't do multi-year renewals right now either. And those are some other things I'm going to be looking at. So, I know that those are some of the best practices that people are recommending.
Right.
And that's been ruminating in my mind. So.
Right. Well, I'm sorry you're stuck in an association that doesn't like the change.
I know. It's not a
that's
good
sarcasm. That is complete sarcasm right there.
Yeah, soccer's
you.
over there.
All right. Again, for those that came in late, I have the Christmas tree behind me because, again, the fourth quarter starts 2 days from now. Christmas is on its way. Winter is coming, if you're a Game of Thrones fan there. So feel free to talk about fourth quarter stuff. I know that we're on the calendar year basis, my organization, FMI, and it's we have a lot of talking and a lot of things changing in the works. So how about you?
Our fiscal year is July to June. So it's kind of been nice that we've split this COVID era is going to be over 2 fiscal years, which might make our numbers look a little better. So when you say fourth quarter, I think, oh my gosh, but for, technically for us, we're into our second quarter. So we're actually seeing our numbers are going back up this month, which is great. Our retention's still not great, so we're getting a lot of new people, but that's kind of I'm about to do the month of end reports in a couple of days, but I don't know. Well, it's just kind of nuts, kind of crazy.
Is your retention worse than it was before the pandemic?
We have been increasing a good amount over the last year, and overall numbers and retention just going up, which is really nice. We were about 5% higher than we were last year, and we're so our fiscal year that ended in June will end up about where we were last year. So it really hasn't dropped from last year, which is good. It's just we were all on this kind of high of our 5% increase. So we're going to our conference is coming up near the end of October, and we've got some plans in the works to kind of go after some people who have lapsed. We've already reached out to some people who lapsed during the whole pandemic, March, April kind of time frame. March through May, I think we did, and we're going to go hit some more people after we get through conference.
So I'm guessing virtual conference.
Yep.
Yep.
So yep. Okay. We were, halfway into our, regular planning, and so it's taken a lot more staff time. Switch everything and pull other staff in to help out with things. So, yeah. But I don't know where they came up with the numbers they decided on, their goals, and we're not there yet. So
okay.
See how that plays out. So
yeah. Well, I would think registrations, usually for any event come at the last minute. Many of them, and for the virtuals, I'm talking really last minute. I mean,
that's exactly what we said. We had some summer rates going, and the last day of summer rates we got to push, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're not getting that much." I'm like, "I think you're going to see it." We're a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think, I think on Monday, you're going to see a lot of people because they're going to be like, oh, I have some free time this week, and or the week before, I guess. Maybe they'll realize they've. And the thing is, we're recording almost everything, 95% of everything. So they will have access through the end of December. So we're really trying to promote that as well. So.
Well, just like organizations and companies are having a hard time making decisions for the future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure individually people are not even going to decide on what they're going to do next week,
Right.
Or maybe tomorrow, just depending on what's going on with schools and work and whether they're working from home or going somewhere else. That's, that's always, it's amazing how the decision making has become even more last minute, I guess.
Yeah.
Sharon, what I've kind of experienced with my clients and then also heard is do not be surprised if it more than doubles those last couple of days, that things are just blowing up those last couple of days, which, that's the good and the bad of what we're doing is that you kind of expect that, but it still scares the what out of you because you're like, oh my God, look where we are. But then for whatever reason, it blows up. The other thing, just a little FYI, is don't be surprised or prepare yourselves if you handle any of sponsor exhibitor deliverables for them to show up the last hour before the conference starts, because they are just, they're not thinking on your behalf, which is, oh, wait a minute, I need to get you a 50-word description, or I need to get you a whatever. They're thinking sort of back in, there's not those normal reminders like when it's in person. Oh, we have to print this thing, right? We have to print this program. So you need to make sure I have this 3 weeks in advance. No, it's digital. I'll get it to you 10 minutes before this thing starts and expect you to get it up. And it's frustrating as can be, but with my clients, that's what I keep hearing. I've had a bunch of notices for booths and things that I've sold that you're in the middle of the event and then they get it to you and go, get it up now. It's like, the event started 2 days ago, right? But you can't say that to them, but you're thinking, it started 2 days ago. So the pressure on me to get this up right now is not exactly fair. And I don't really feel it like I normally would, but you need to do it. So that's just a little side note. Let whoever is in charge of that to be aware that it's going to be coming and it's going to be coming late.
Okay.
Scott, I'm curious if the last minute exhibitors are paying the full tab, or had they paid before and just not provided the deliverables?
Paid before and not provided. And with the one client that I'm feeling this the most, their meeting is not in a position of strength. So what my fear is that on the back end, they're going to say, we want money back. And if they do, we need to address that. But then also if they do, that means next year and the year after, they're not coming back.
What I did previously with a group, way before COVID, but it was with very last minute exhibitors, I just went ahead and downloaded a description for them from their website and sent it to them for approval or rewrite so that something was there.
Yeah, and Barbara, I agree. But it's not just that. It's
not
all right.
ideal,
We want, on your booth, you get to put up a video.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, they need to get us a video. And so with the descriptions, logos, of course, we can steal all that stuff and say, here you go.
And you want the video to be something that doesn't embarrass the host association.
Right. Yep.
Ugh.
So lots of fun with virtual events.
Well, I'm glad I was able to pop in for a little while. I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, good to see you,
Thanks
Barbara.
for coming, Barb.
Got to scoot.
Okay, see you. Yeah, it's after 1 o'clock. And again, feel free if you need to go. We usually go a little longer than 30 minutes. So any other questions or challenges, issues, things that you want to check on with the group?
How many of you, since we're talking events, we were talking about, like, I heard the break-even number for our event, and I was like, how can it be that high? We have no food and beverage, we have no travel, we have, and they're like, oh, it's all staff time, it's staff time. And I'm thinking, well, we need to be more efficient and let staff be working on this. But does everybody, I would assume, count their staff time towards their conference budget? I mean, like, I'm not conference, but I put stuff on my timesheet because I'm spending a lot of time on it this year. So I'm tracking it and keeping track, and that's supposedly all going towards the conference budget.
I'll say one really quick thing about that. It's just like Scott was talking about in our last minute registration. That takes a lot of manpower to be able to handle, or be able to help with those registrations that are coming last minute, or working out, because we've had a lot of issues with the virtual events where people are having a hard time getting through registration, for instance, or getting online and actually getting into an event that they paid for. So, we certainly have, there's probably a little percentage of more manpower or even additional as the staff, equivalents, I guess, to be working on those, rather than what everything that you do on site. But again, depends on the event, depends on the organization. There's been events where we've had to hire temporary staff for in-person events and that type of thing. So I don't know.
We seem to spend a lot of dollars on staff time. It seems like it to me. I don't know what the average would be for a,
Yeah, Sharon, I think it's interesting because it does, as Dan was saying, it depends on your organization, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you would think you've got 100%, right? So if typically you're focused on, let's just say marketing or membership, and that's 100% of your time, well, that's what your budget is based off of, right? So now if you're allocating 40% of your time to the meeting, your membership time will go down. So if you look at it from the organization as a whole, one's going up, one's going down. So your costs won't increase, but yes, if you're allocating that way, your budget's going to look funky. Your expenses are going to look funky, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's sort of like other duties is assigned, right? It's like, you're a staff person, you get other duties as assigned. And if your priorities shift a little bit, one group should not get penalized and one group should not benefit unless somebody somewhere is rolling it all up to the top and going, hey, this is what happened. And if that's not happening, then there's no way to win, so to speak, because you're not now spending 150, you're not allocating 150% of your time.
Right.
You're still allocating 100. So it shouldn't make that much of a difference, but I could see how it would make it look like the meeting is now more expensive, but then membership should be, for lack of a better term, cheaper.
Right. It's just, I look at that number, and in general, I feel like we're super inefficient, and I hope nobody in my organization listens to this at a future date, but it's like, I've been a very similar sized organization, similar staff, and it was never this inefficient or disorganized. And I'm thinking, I don't know, there's just a lot of work that needs to be done. Too much. We have a term that the staff member here coined, collaboras, that we all are all too much working on the same thing, everything, like, it doesn't have to go through. When I started, like, literally 9 people would look at an email before it went out, a newsletter, and you're just like, I'm probably making changes that you made, and you're making changes that she made, and so we start to get back like that at times, and conference is one of those right now. In the last 2 years have been like that. So it's like, we're 80 years old this year. We've known for 79 years this conference was coming. Why is all this coming up at the last minute?
Yep. I can tell you from my many years of at many associations, I feel your pain, and that it's too common out there, especially in associations. And if anything, hopefully, if anything comes out of this whole crisis, is that being able to make change and shift and pivot, whatever you want to call it, and be able to be more efficient and more productive and streamlined. I think hopefully that will be some of the outcomes that happen, because when this happened back in mid-March, we, FMI, basically decided to create a whole new virtual event that they did at the beginning of July. And so for they had 8 weeks to develop a brand new event and actually make it happen and get people in it. And it worked well. It's just, we looked at each other afterwards like, how did we do that? That was amazing. That's something that usually takes us, months and years to actually prepare and do. And then, all of a sudden we're able to do this in, a small percentage of the time, okay, well, that's good. Now, let's do that some more. So good things can come out of it. I guess I'm saying silver lining here. Well, keep at it, Sharon. The cultural change. I wrote an article for SAE. I probably mentioned it a few times, but called 3 Wake-Up Calls for Change. It's in their archive somewhere. I can always share it with you if you want it. But it's basically, it was like I likened changing associations to trying to wake up a teenager in the morning. That it's almost impossible. So the 3 wake-up calls were basically that you have to show them data that this is not working, and that we need to fix it. So they can't really argue with that. I always like to say, be statistical, not egotistical. And it always helps to try to get your personality or your wants out of the needs, out of the picture, and just show them the data and say, it's the data, it's not me. And the other one, if I can remember the other two, but one of the other ones was basically just to shock them into well, one of it was peel away. They're under all these covers. You have to peel away little by little, so it takes time. But if you can make a little progress each, you might get there. And the other one was shocking, but basically to make sure when they say something, you just basically, the response is that, well, that's exactly why we need to do it. And the reason is basically everything's changing out there and we're not. And I like the article. It was fun to write. So
Dan, basically part of the problem is you don't want to call somebody's baby ugly, and that's been
right.
My challenge was with clients over time is getting them to accept change, and change is is very and they want to feel like everything that they've done up till now has been perfect, and why would we, and we know our members and things like that, and sometimes it doesn't matter what information you give to them, or or what statistics that you have. It's it's sort of playing devil's advocate there, but it's so.
And sometimes it's just having to wait them out until the leadership changes.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
And that there's a new attitude and new sheriff in town, basically. So. Well,
that is very true.
Yeah.
If you want to know about the no change movement, work with builders. They hate change. They're forced to change. They've got to change. There's new building codes, you name it. But it's just like stubborn. They're just very stubborn.
Right.
It's changes and I just always try to walk in like Pollyanna. Oh, but it'll be so good, and just keep it all bright and happy. And most of the things that we have instituted and changed, they have been happy with. And they forget that they were totally against it. So we just forge on. I'm looking forward to hearing, Cindy, how yours goes over.
Yeah.
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 I was thinking that
you.
like every time we have one of these meetings, we should check in on that. Check in on your new brand, check in on the new database, and at least check in and see how things are going.
I may do a write-up for ASAE. And
I think that would be fantastic. So valuable. That would be so valuable to do something, especially with the, changing from anniversary to calendar, changing brand, changing database, changing, adding a new membership product. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
It's been a year. I have a quick question for Kevin, because Kevin, I know you do a lot in the research area. Anything we should be aware of coming up for the next year from a research perspective and membership? I know you're steeped in this, so not to put you on the spot.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Oh, here we go. Unmute all the way down there.
There we go.
All right, it's really sad because I said something really profound just now, and I'm afraid I'm gonna miss that part. But no, I think that you know, when I look at what we've been doing with folks and what other people have been asking me for, sort of like repository statistics. Number one, all that really cool benchmarking stuff that, you know, MGI has been doing. For a year, you got to like really you know, sort of weigh that with like a huge thing of salt, you know, because I think what's happening is that just like we found with the last you know, coming out of the Great Recession, you know, when we did when both MGI and I did surveys back in, what was it, 2008, I think it was, 2009, you know, about a third of associations were growing like gangbusters in the middle of that. A third were, you know, sharply declining, and a third were somewhere in the middle, just sort of stabilizing. And I think that we don't know enough about the distribution of outcomes where we find out if it is an anomaly that you got, you know, like at least a temporary 5% increase in renewal rates. But I think you have to be able to sort of benchmark yourself against yourself as opposed to against other organizations, because both their tactics and the circumstances in their industry or profession are going to be highly variable. The other thing that I recommend that a lot of folks do is I've been seeing people do pulse surveys where to help actually be able to determine how normal or abnormal you are, ask people how, you know, COVID has in fact affected them, and not their ability to pay your dues, although of course that's kind of what you're looking for ultimately, is just to try to find out you know, what's happening in terms of their own businesses. If they've you know, been if they've been furloughed, oftentimes they'll tell you, or if they've had their hours cut, to what degree are they allowed to come back to their offices by this point in time, because people are experiencing both the emotional and logistical disruption, and of course they're also probably either encountering a loss of income or not. But knowing sort of what proportion of those are out there, I think really helps you sort of adjust your own forecast, and also see if you need to do something more to ameliorate, like you know, offering and Scott loves me when I say this, but offering like a grace period if you don't offer one, extending the grace period, or at least offering some kind of systematic, you know, amnesty for them if they truly are sort of out of work, because most people don't want to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm out of work. You just want to try to, you know, determine how prevalent that problem is, to sort of do both your forecasting, but also your actual, you know, making decisions that will actually affect the individual relationship with the member as well. So.
All right. Well, Dan's kicking us all off today.
Hi. Yep. No, this is great. Again, I could go on with this too, because I really enjoy it. But thanks everyone for your input, your participation, and you know, happy beginning of fourth quarter of the calendar year. And hang in there, and we'll look. Oh, next one is going to be October 13th. 2 weeks, right? October 13th. Will be the next one, and we look forward to that. And tell your friends, you know, if there's others that you want to involve in your organization or other membership professionals, we always welcome new folks in each meeting. So
I have to miss the one on the 13th. Sorry, I have a new member orientation that morning.
Okay, well, it won't be as good. So no.
But my new members are going to appreciate it, boy.
There you go. All right. Thanks, Renee.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.